Welcome to episode 294 of Backpacking America. Joined by a very special guest today, one of the two people that birthed me, or led to my birth because you weren't pregnant. This is my dad, who's also named Anthony, so it's very confusing when when mom's looking for us.
I can usually tell by the tone.
My dad's been in the financial services field for actually 30 years,
30
right?
years,
exactly 30 years.
31, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, going into 31.
Wow, cool. And he also owned a cell phone distributor.
Yeah, communications company, cell phones, long distance, yeah. Back in the day.
Look at that, huh? Look at that.
Pretty funny.
So we're here today to talk mostly about success, generational changes, maybe some patriotic quotes here and there. Maybe. Depending on how we go with this. So the first thing I wanted to ask you, and I always ask people that are older than me.
Let's find one.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, let's find a 60-year-old. But mostly how has... I always like to see how things have changed, because my industry has changed drastically since COVID, especially in the last 5 years was COVID. Before, when someone said they were a social media manager, it was kind of a joke. You thought it was just some white girl that was going to post for you online. Now it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. So how has entrepreneurship changed in the last 30 years?
Okay, well, fundamentals never change. Fundamentals are fundamentals for that reason. What changes is people's, the environment around it, some of the tools that are available, like social media and whatever we're doing right now, right? But one of the things, even before we get started on that, first of all, I want to congratulate you on 5 years, a proud dad moment, right?
Thank you. 5 years of Backpacking America, that's right.
Pretty awesome.
The first episode of Backpacking America for our listeners was May 23rd, 2019, and I'll get into the inaugural story after this point.
Okay, and here we are now in the studio that you built on your own, which I think is pretty awesome.
Thank you.
So, it's kind of funny because, people look at things differently. So, I don't think I've ever, I'm sure through the years I might have said things that advice or whatever it might be, but I think that it's more what you see than what someone tells you. And it's exciting to see that you saw what I saw in my very early 20s, is that working for someone else doesn't always get you to where you want to go. And that's one of the fundamentals of success as well, is being able to get a goal, state a goal, and have a path and go get the goal done. But that's definitely, the fundamentals, just like I said, the things I talk about with the people we train today are the same things we talked about in 1990, God help me, 3, when I started on my second phase of business. My first business was 1990, I think. I'm going to really date myself here, but I was out of college for less than, I don't even know. I graduated college like most people, and everybody says the same thing. Generationally, we talked about generations before. Every June, every May, every April, the same crap comes out on TV, news, whatever it is that, this college generation is not going to get jobs. It's worse than ever, blah, blah, blah. And they said the same crap back in the 80s. When we graduated college. This is going to be the worst time ever, blah, blah, blah. And we graduated in 1984, 9. No, I graduated college, I think, in 89.
Oh, wow.
I hope my math is right. Yeah, it's got to be 89. And, I landscaped for 2 or 3 months, just trying to make some money, until I could find something, a job. And I never really wanted to work for anybody, but I found the job because that's really what society programs you to do, to conform and go get a job. And thank God I got laid off from that job probably 6-7 months in. I think I got the job in September, October, and by April they told us they were downsizing, which they really weren't. They were just hiring a bunch of family that was graduating from college a year behind me. So I was out with about 7 or 8 other guys. It was only a 20-man company, 19, 18 men, whatever it was back in the day. And that gave me the kick in the ass to say, all right, I'm not going to go start another job. I've been laid off, or, what's kind of funny is I worked jobs through college. I worked full-time jobs, but I didn't work them full-time. So I worked in construction. That doesn't mean I put in 40 hours a week, but I worked on construction with guys that were in their 30s, 40s, 50s supporting. I worked in trucking. I worked in retail. So I had full-time jobs, and I watched people basically be discarded by their employer when they were no longer needed. And I saw unions kind of defend them, but I think more they were there just to get their union dues. And I just looked at it and said, you know what, I don't want to go that route for 40 years, 50 years. I want to do something on my own terms. So I looked for a business that had to have certain criterias. One of the criteria was I just did not love the idea of commuting into Manhattan every day from Long Island, from Suffolk County. That was like rule number one, not going to Manhattan. Which right away people said, well, you just eliminated yourself from so many different opportunities, jobs, which I didn't want anyway. And then I said the next thing is it's got to be something with residual income, and it's got to be something with no product, no inventory, and which is how I got to where I am. Both businesses that I had fit that, checked all those boxes, so to speak. So, and then here we are today. I don't know if that answered your question, but
no, I would say, what I like about, the concept of, and I agree with you on the not working with anyone, because I know that you could lose your job tomorrow, and I think about it a lot where it's like, okay, if being laid off is an inevitability in a lot of places, especially in what I went to school for. Layoffs happen all the time. People walk into work for example, Psych and MJ on a BOI.
Right.
One day, Psych, was it Psych? It was MJ. I think it was MJ. MJ walked into work and she didn't have a job anymore. I mean, that was 3 years gone. You probably were renting, had a house, you have bills to pay. The way I figured was, if that's an inevitability in my industry, I mean, even in union construction, you could still get laid off.
Absolutely.
So I was like, I could make more money and still have the same amount of risk of losing that income if I own my own business, and at least I don't hate people around me. I choose who I want around me. Mm-hmm. It's more enjoyable, and the risk is still the same.
Right. The economy has changed.
Well, it has, and people think that getting a job and working for someone else is guaranteed employment. It's really not.
Yeah, and it hasn't been since probably your grandparents' generation, to be honest with you. So you look at both your grandfathers. They work for the same company from when they were 18 years old to the day they retired, which is friggin' unheard of today. It just doesn't happen.
You actually have to jump around to get more income and to get stability.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like, at that point, if I constantly have to be begging for work and I constantly have to be looking for the next best thing, I might as well open my own business.
That's the way I kind of looked at it back in 90. I looked at it and said, why do I want to go to work for someone when I have no guarantee? It's not like I'm signing a 40-year contract. They're giving me a salary of 40 years. So, I looked at it as, well, if I'm going to fail, because I screwed up. I'm going to fail because of me, not because my boss one day had a mental instability.
Well, that was my biggest problem. That was my biggest problem when I was working at the radio station, because I would constantly ask for new opportunity. I didn't even want to get paid more. I was just like, can I please do this?
Right.
And you would think that would be, something that would be encouraged. Like, wow, the kid doesn't even want an extra dollar. He just wants to do extra stuff.
One of the things I believe is that people will be more productive. They'll stick long term on a job with just a simple manager saying, good morning, how you doing, how was your weekend? There's people work for recognition, appreciation, praise, and then money. That was something I was taught by one of my mentors in the early 90s. And I believe it's true. Most people don't look for a different occupation unless they're unhappy with their environment.
Right.
Now, more money is always great.
Yeah, of course.
But money doesn't always define success. And that's one of the things that, as far as I'm concerned, will never change. Now, a lot of people do gauge their success on their paycheck. And, well, I make $1 million a year, so I'm doing great. Well, yeah, but maybe you've been divorced 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Maybe your kids hate your guts. Maybe, your employees want to shoot you in the parking lot. I mean, I don't know. I kind of look at things and I believe that your life has to be balanced. Now, I didn't say equal. I said balanced. Mm-hmm. And there's a difference. A lot of people think that balance means, 25% job, 25% family, 25% recreation, 25% faith, whatever it is. They try to, that's not how it works. What you do you got to treat, it's just like when you treat people. You need to treat them fairly. That doesn't mean you're going to treat them the same.
Yeah.
Right? Because each person needs something different. But when you look at balance, I believe, like, I knew for a fact when Mom and I got together, she understood that we were going to be out of balance to get in balance. So, some people say, well, you made sacrifices. I kind of look at it as I made trade-offs. I look at you, I'm proud of you. You make trade-offs, right? You're going to bed earlier because you got to get up early. You got more things to do. Maybe you can't go out as much, right? You're not sacrificing. You're trading off time for a better value. And later you're going to have more time because of that. So when other people are waiting for their Social Security check, right, you're going to be living a lifestyle, right? It's one of the things where, people ask me, when are you going to retire? It's not about being retired. It's about being financially independent. Yeah. And when you love what you do, I can't ever imagine not doing what I do for a living. The focus of it might shift more over the years, where now I'm more into what I'm going to leave behind as far as developing people and things of that nature. But, it's important that when people, here's what I mean by being in balance. For most people, they have a goal, I'm going to make X, Y, Z. And they sacrifice their spouse or their kids to get there. And they'll say, well, I'm successful now. I make 7 figures, or I own a mansion, or I do that. And that's great. You accomplished something. But that doesn't mean that you're successful. Yeah, is the bottom line. So,
well, I agree with that. And I feel like a lot of people that work in my field particularly go down the route of abandoning their family, their friends, and everything just for their career. Right. I can't tell you how many people I know that have had 3 or 4 divorces. I could actually count more than my hand.
Right.
I could tell you.
And that's not disparaging to anyone that's gone through. I'm not saying crap happens. People get divorced. The point I'm making by that is, what was the reason why? Maybe it was because there was too. Now, here's the thing, and here's where you can justify what happens. Well, I'm just trying to make more money for them. Okay, money can't replace time.
Yeah,
right. Sure. So, it's doing the crazy things. It's. I can remember when I had my office in Oakdale, going and opening up a meeting and running out in a suit and tie to your baseball games in Bellport, and then looking at my clock and running back. Nobody even knew I was gone. I was doing that because I was supporting a lot of people and I was trying to help them. But it's doing the things you need to do, especially when you don't want to do them. That really defines being successful, or getting the success, I should say. Because people want to do the easy things.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and I look at some of the. And it's easy to look at things and go, my generation does this. And listen, your grandparents' generation bitched about us. Their parents' generation bitched about these kids are crazy. Look at the music. Look at the way they work. Look at this. Look at that. We have a lot of people I work with now that are under 30 years old that make a ton of money, and they have values, and they have families, and they have that balance going on. So it's possible.
Right.
I think sometimes our government aids in the you could sit back and do nothing, and because we live in America, and that's what kind of will erode the greatness of our country over time, is my belief. So so generationally there's a couple of different things, but that doesn't mean just because your generation is different from mine, it doesn't mean that your generation's bad.
No, of course
not. Or my generation's bad.
And it's funny you say that, because there's a lot of I saw something on Facebook where it took a news article from like last year, and it said Gen Z is lazy and blah 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 blah, and then it flashed back to 2010. Millennials are going to destroy the country. 1980, 1960, 1865, 1653, 1483. They went all the way back to the time of Plato, where they were talking about that generation. Right. And it's like it's just timeless. I mean, it's just fun to complain about other people because you look back on yourself. It's like, I wasn't that bad, but we all were that bad. Right. Like, we were all jackasses as kids.
Well, as we, what's the word I'm looking for? As the world grows and matures, as industry grows and matures, it's like you look at AI right now. Like, AI is a big argument, right? We were watching a movie last night with Jennifer Lopez, actually, and I don't even remember what it was called. Atlas, right? Where she was her mom really kind of like developed this next stage of AI, and AI killed the mom, so she was anti-AI, and at the end she had to succumb to using AI to save her life. So it's the same thing with all the tools that are out there right now. AI, social media, like people in my generation, I don't want to learn how to use the computer, I don't want to learn how to use social media. Without vision, people perish. That's an old Bible thing, but it's true. So things change. That doesn't mean it's bad. It means you need to embrace it, learn how to use it. Now, just like everything else, there's people that will use it for bad. Oh, yeah. And there's people that will use it for good, right? I mean, look at all the scams that are out.
And then they'll try to deep fake the president saying stuff. I've seen a lot of danger. Like, I was anti-AI. Mm-hmm. And my clients were like, use AI, use AI. They were demanding it. I was like, fine, I'll buy it. And it made me double, triple my income. Okay. Once I started using it, I was like, all right, now I see, because that's just the way it is. Right. Now because the way the algorithm works for social media is you need to put X amount of content out to get X amount of results. It's a video game. Right. Or if you don't play video games, it's just a mass production factory. Right. So I was like, I need to do this. Now, some of my clients don't care about social media stuff, and they don't want AI. And they want more or less just highly produced videos and just make it good. Don't use AI to cut up reels. Right. That's fine. But for people that want to use online marketing, they want to do online advertising, AI is one of the best tools you can have, especially if you do a podcast. The reason why this podcast gets 60 to 80,000 views a month on YouTube is because of reels. Crap. Yeah.
Good thing I shaved. Yeah. Well, part of me.
Part of you, at least. And my clients see the same results based off of reels. And, I have these thick packets that I'll bring to new clients. I'm like, okay, here's all the statistics from my clients from the last 3 months.
Hopefully this one gets more thumbs up than thumbs down. My ego's very fragile.
It probably will, but it's I wanted to backtrack a little bit because it is 5 years since I've been doing this, and I love telling this story. So, and it kind of goes back to starting a business. And when I started the podcast, I didn't want to own a business when I was in college. I was like, that seems like a lot of work. And, whatever. I was 19. And I said, this is going to be a good way to get a job. So I purely started the podcast because I was like, okay, well, the music industry kids, I was friends with a lot of music kids. They all have albums out. They have bands that perform. They're making LPs, EPs, YPs, whatever the fuck. They're doing whatever to have a name for themselves and demonstrate their work. No one in my major was doing that. Maybe you had the WONY, the college radio station. But outside of that was it. No one was doing anything with the shows. They weren't making air checks and sending it out to NPR, ABC. So I was like, I'll make a podcast. Because, one, it's easier than doing air checks. Because at the time, I was like, why would I do an air check? Even though now I know that making an air check's easier. But whatever. So I started the podcast in hopes to just be a resume booster and get a job, which actually ended up working out great because I got a job at LI News because of that. they saw that and they're like, wow, you got 100 and something episodes at the time. That's really impressive. You're so dedicated to it. Would you like a job? Sure. And then I realized while I was there, I was like, I could make this a business. Like, I could sell advertising for the show. Never really worked that great. Right. So now I use the show mostly as a marketing tool to get more clients. So it's funny because I started this as a means to just get a job. And then as I kept going with it, I'm like, oh, I actually really love this. And I could use this to be a way to support my business, to show, look, this is what I could do for you. And this has worked. So when I didn't have a lot of clients, I pointed them to the show and I said, listen, what you see here is what you would get if you purchased my services. Because you need to have demonstration. If you don't have, because people always ask to see your work, especially, and this is something that's very funny with a lot of people that try to get into what I do. Like, how'd you start? And I was like, well, I've always been doing it. I've always had a means to show my work. You always have to show your work. You cannot have, you can't have nothing. You have to do something, even if it's for free. Or I always recommend starting your own project, but maybe just offer to do stuff for companies for free first.
Right.
If you have no work experience, if you have no experience whatsoever, at least do something for free. Or if you're at your job, offer to do their marketing just to get your foot wet. And if you do really good, then you say, hey, listen, can you pay me? Right. But I walked in already with the experience, which is why I always got mad when people said I had to work for free, because I already have the stuff. So I'm not going to work for free. You should have got me when I was a pack of cigarettes and $20 in college. Sorry. Because even in college I charged. I didn't charge a lot,
right,
but I charged enough to where it was like, I felt okay. And at the time, it was $20 in a pack of cigarettes. So,
It's one of the things I never did. Never worked for free. I remember being back in college, people said you should, intern. And I was like, no, I need to get paid. So I feel you on that. But, you look at everything you've done. Like I said, Mom and I are really proud of everything that you did and, everything that you're doing and what's going to happen. So it's exciting for us to watch. Entrepreneurship is a great thing. And I know you have visions of building this even bigger and that's the goal. But you said one thing that's really important in success. And that's, I did a class on this not too long ago. And my rule number one was do something. Just do something. I mean, people sit back and they want to study everything and they never make a decision. It's it's paralysis by analysis, right? They're trying to figure everything out. Just go do something. Slop it up. We'll mop it up. Go out there and do something and at least you can say you tried, right? I did this and it didn't work. Because, there's an old saying, win some, lose some, which I think is actually bullshit. It's actually win some, learn some. And that's actually from a famous author, actually. And I'm a big John Maxwell fan. And that's he's an author that was the name of his book. And it's so true when you think about it. When you lose, you never lose the lesson. And but if you don't try, you can't win, nor can you get that lesson. So you sit there paralyzed, waiting and waiting and waiting. So I think that's a key, that fundamental. So what other question you got?
I mean, that was a lot of good. That was really, and then thank you for the compliments. I do want to build this bigger. You do learn a lot, and I would say that I learned that if you keep investing in a business, it's gonna grow better. So when I got that computer, and it's so funny, I changed my mindset around it. It was more like act like you have the money that you need, and then you'll get the money you need. Mm-hmm. And I said, so I built this computer with Anthony and Jeff, and I spent the money on it. It hurt to spend the money on it, but my income increased.
Right.
And I said, okay, and I started to get more business, more leads. I started to turn around work faster. My work got better. And the next month I was like, if it worked for the computer, it'll probably work with an office. And then my income doubled.
Right. With
an office space. And people take me more seriously. So it's just, and then now I have a salesperson. I have Mike. Mike, if you're listening, what's good? So, he's going today to follow up after we did our training, and Bayshore, he's going to follow up with people that he talked to.
Okay.
So it's constantly investing in your business is needed for growth. I always thought, yeah, obviously, you need to invest. But I was like, yeah, whatever. I'll wait till I'm good and ready. But you're never ready.
But always remember this, not only investing in your business, but investing in yourself, because you're part of your business. What I mean by that is I probably invest 10% of my income in self-improvement.
What does that mean?
Self-improvement meaning getting better at my craft, getting better at my mentals, investing in trying to be a better leader, trying to be a better a servant to my clients, whatever it might be. I always want to get better. So that doesn't mean, hey, look what we did after the pandemic. You look at our office space, and most people didn't pay their rent for 2 years, and the landlord was just juiced up because every month I paid. And then what I did is I dumped about $10,000 into the place when we started getting live people back to clean it up and make it the next level, make it attractive to people. And it's that's an investment in the company, but you got to remember to invest in yourself. People will cheap it out. You'll see people that are independent salespeople, let's say, or independent people. They'll try to figure out the cheapest way to do something, which I can respect. I understand what it's like to build on a budget. We did the same stuff, but the bottom line is not 100% of the time. Okay, if you can get away with something, maybe you would try because things are a little tight. But you got to invest in good equipment. But you got to invest in this right here. Your mind is the key to everything you do. I don't care what business you're in. I don't care if you're my business, your business. If you're not doing the right things up here, and you don't have a lot of heart, it doesn't matter. You're not going to make it long term. And I think that's why you look at businesses. At the SBA. Right, government agency, Small Business Association says most businesses don't turn a profit for 5 years, and that's either when they fold, if they even make it that far, or they get it done, right? And but a lot of it comes down to the unwillingness to invest and get better. There's something we call the value gap. Here's what I know. Here's what you know. This is why you pay me, and I believe that price is only an issue in the absence of value. And I don't care if you're charging people $1,000 a session or $100 a session. If they're getting value, they're getting value. Now, when people say things like, I can't afford it, or that's too much money, they're not really saying that your fee is too much or your value is too little. Really what they're saying is, I don't believe in myself enough to spend the money or invest the money, or my budget just doesn't allow it, right? So, that doesn't diminish what the price really, but people, even in success, people want to negotiate the price tag, and you can't. You got to pay the price if you want to be successful. But something you said, I thought about. I remember when I used to, every time I had to do something for my first company, for the first business we built, and I built that while living at home with the grandparents, and I had an office in the basement of my house, and then we had a double suite in Levittown, New York, and I just remember that we had to get a copy machine. Okay, copy machines back in the day. For those of you that are between 20 and 30 right now, a copy machine was this big machine that now I'm going to get. But, we had copy machines were like a very integral part of your business back in the day. Now everything's, PDFs, sharing crap, and it's great. But our copy machine was like a car payment at the time. And we didn't look at it. We used to break it down to how many more clients that's only a half a client a month. That's only a client a month that'll pay for that copy machine. When I leased my first car, it was scary as hell. And I leased my first car, and I said, okay, that's 2 clients a month for that car. So I didn't look at it as how much it costs. I looked at how many people do I have to service to produce the revenue to pay for that lifestyle, if you will. And if and you hear us talk at home. I can remember when I used to have to write the check for health insurance. I mean, it was a comma check every month, and it was ridiculous, the cost. And every time we went somewhere, we'd have to write another check because we could never meet the deductible, right? And it was expensive. People say, oh, my God, why don't you go work for somebody? Your health insurance is so much money. And I said, well, it's not really that much. It's 3 clients a month. And they would look at you like, what are you talking about? But that's how we equate things. So if you need to go buy a $5,000 computer, $10,000 computer, well, how many clients do I need to maintain a month to pay for that? So, and
well, now here's my question to you, I guess. How would you go, say it was out of your, say you didn't have that client base, or it was like, okay, it's only this client, that client, that client, but then you didn't have enough business to make it. How did you generate
You're
that?
going to love this answer. We found a friggin' way. Okay, everybody wants this magic answer. Balls of steel, heart of fire. I don't know. We just we'll get it done. We'll make do with what we have till we get enough people to make it better. People buy into you. They don't really give a crap about your product. They buy into you. They buy into your passion. They buy into the fact that you're going to service them. That goes a lot further than the fanciest studio on the street or the fanciest computer or whatever it might be. Now, do you want to have that? Of course. Do people like to see that? Of course. But the bottom line is, I walk into a doctor. I don't judge a doctor by how fancy the chairs in the lobby is. I want to know that when they tell me ABC, that I'm going to live because they're giving me ABC. You know what I'm trying to say? So people buy you, and that's what's so important. That's why you always got to work on you. You always got to read. Like you read, all the time. And I think that's awesome. When I was your age, I had to condition myself to say, I'm going to be a better reader. I never wanted to say I'm not a great reader. And I had an attention issue when it came to reading. So what we did is we just said, oh, we're going to get better. We're going to get better. But I see all the books you read. You read probably 30 books to my one, time-wise. I mean, you bought me a book for, what was that for? I don't even remember what, Father's Day or birthday or Christmas, whatever it was. And I looked at it, I was like, son of a bitch. You bought me 2 books.
And I bought you a 3rd book.
Yeah, and they are thick. And so they are thick. And I enjoy them. I'm a big Reagan fan. I
bought him Reagan's diary and his autobiography.
Yeah, and listen, whatever your political beliefs are, I don't care. That's the problem with another thing generational today. So many people want to be, I'm right, you're wrong. I'm left, you're right. I'm Democrat, you're Republican. I'm this, I'm that. You know, when I was growing up, nobody knew what anybody was, and no one really gave a shit, to be honest with you. I mean, you're Republican, great. You're Democrat, great. I mean, whatever it is. But I just loved growing up in the 80s. I guess I can stretch that. And getting involved in economics. Like I was into money I love money. I don't have I'm not an evil obsession with it, but I was always into money. I was fascinated by money, how it grows, how it works. And so the economy is a part, economics, although I never wanted to be an economist by any means, too technical, but I loved, watching, certain things that were happening in the economy, some of the changes. Our generation gets labeled with being kind of a me generation, the X generation, Generation X. But I mean, I loved watching how the economy grew and some of the things. But I read you some of those quotes before. It's big fan. But I was not a big fan of how many pages. So I'm trying to read. My goal every day is to read 1 to 3 chapters, depending on my schedule. Which comes back to a reason why a lot of people don't self-improve. The same reason why they don't go to the gym, right? I don't have the time, right? Well, make the time. So, I get up the same time every day, no matter what time I go to bed, okay? And the reason why I do that is I want to make sure I have time in the morning. Now, I notice you're doing that too. You're reading, and then I walk in the kitchen in the morning, get a cup of coffee, and you're up reading a book, right? Because you realize there's not enough time in the day to do all the things you need to do, right? So I have a routine. My guys even know this. Don't even bother calling me. My office manager knows not to call me before 8:30 in the morning, because from 6:30 to 8 o'clock in the morning is my time to get my mind right, to do the reading I need to do the day planning I need to do, that kind of stuff. And if I get distracted with once you pick up that first phone call,
you can't stop.
Can't. Once you make the mistake of going into your emails, it's a big trap for people. Emails, text, generational thing, right? Not understanding the priority of the communication order. Nothing beats this.
Yeah.
Nothing beats eyeball to eyeball. But a lot of times, and I do get concerned about the future because of people's willingness to give into technology as a form of communication rather than have a conversation.
Yeah.
Let me just send a text.
Ironically, I believe that my generation is going to be the generation to actually
Flip it back.
And the reason why I say that is there's a lot. I'm at the age now where people are getting married and having children, and they're not giving their kids iPhones, iPads. They won't give it to them.
How old were you when you got your first cell phone?
I had a flip phone in 4th grade, and you guys gave me that because you guys thought the public school was big, bad, scary, and they're like, if you have an issue, here's this. And then I got my first iPhone in 8th grade, and I only got it in 8th grade because you guys said if you want an iPhone, you have to use your actual. Because I would never carry my flip phone with me.
Right.
It would always be at home. I was never using it, so I'm like, okay, I'll use it more often so I can get the iPhone. But even then, I never really used it like that. I was never really a phone guy,
right,
or a DS guy or whatever. But it wasn't until the pandemic that I was like, it flipped because I had nothing to do but look at it. It was horrible.
Screen time is
time is huge. And when I talk to people my age, they're like, oh my God, I'm addicted to this thing. Some people I know, they have apps on the phone where it shuts your phone off from using social media after a certain time. Like you only have like a certain allotment,
right,
or you could only be on social media for 10 minutes, like 10 minutes an hour. So it'll be like, oh, okay, there goes my 10 minutes. I'm done for the next hour.
Listen, it takes a commitment. It's like anything else.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to eat better. You got to consciously, like, I try not to, I don't know if you notice or not, but I don't have the phone with me all the time, even at home.
Yeah.
I'm eating dinner. I'm not looking at the phone. I don't care. Matter of fact, when I was coming here, I was downstairs, and upstairs in my office, I heard the phone ring. I'm like, crap, I don't even have it on me. And it was Mom. And I was like, oh, crap, because Mom's got a special ring. And with my back situation right now, it took me a little bit to get up the stairs there. I didn't exactly sprint up the stairs. But, I think it's something where, and here's the challenge with it, and I get why we do it. I own a business. I have 2,500 clients. I want to be ready. I want to service them. So what we're used to right now is immediate gratification. And we get all pissed off. You ever text anybody and they don't text you right back? And you're like, what the?
It took a long time for me to stop caring about that.
Maybe they're like, I don't know, maybe they're in the bathroom, maybe they're in the shower, maybe they're driving and forgot to connect their whatever it is. Maybe they're in a meeting. So it's very difficult to break, like, Mom got mad at me. I got that second phone.
Yeah.
And it basically has not left my
but you don't use it.
I don't even use it. The reason why I got it, though, is because I'm trying to be more present. And the phone rings, and what's the first thing you do? You look down at it. No matter what you're doing or it dings and it dongs, and you look at it, right? So I figured if I had a number that nobody else had, only you, only her, and only your grandparents, God forbid something happens, your aunt, at least I could, I know your aunts, you got 2 of them, right? So, I mean, if something happened, I would give it to family. But at least it wouldn't be, and I didn't want to put all the apps on it.
Yeah.
Right? How many times you get ding, ding, Best Buy is having a sale. Shit, I don't care. But now it distracted me from our conversation, right? Because I had to go look at the phone. So, but I had to get good at that. I'd be like, oh, why isn't the person?
If I wasn't in this industry, I would have thrown I would have given it back to you because you bought it for me.
Gee, thanks.
I would, I would buy myself a flip phone. I'm so sick of it. I'm actually very sick of it.
Well, what's amazing? How many people don't have a computer now because they have a smartphone?
Yeah, and I hate not having a computer.
It's difficult to operate
a fucking computer.
Right.
Like checking I don't check my email on my phone. If I get an email and it's urgent and I'm at the gym, I'll look at it.
Right.
But if I'm responding, if I'm looking through my email, computer. I cannot do anything on my phone. No, I hate it. Even if I'm on social media, like if I'm posting and doing posts for my clients, it's all on the computer. Well, one, because I have a special software that I use to schedule posts.
Right.
And 2, it's just easier because it's like, okay, I have room, I'm not cramped. And another thing with the phone, like my posture, it's like I'm hunched over all the time. I hate it.
Right.
But I need the phone to send files and
Right.
receive files because I have clients that'll text me pictures, they'll email me shit that I need to look at immediately. But I'm probably, here's the thing too, though. It's also, those are excuses.
Right.
And at the end of the day, if I really wanted to throw away my smartphone, I could easily do it. Not easily.
It'd be difficult.
It would be difficult, but
Look, we're talking
here's
about it
what I
right
would
now, and I just had to look because my phone was flashing. It was driving me crazy. I
Right.
have it on off or
well, I would
not
have,
disturb or whatever.
What I would need is I'd have to get a flip phone.
Right.
And I thought about it before I went to bed the other night.
You know, they have flip phones now.
I know. They've always had them. They've always had them. But I would get a flip phone, and then I would get a landline here. And if you wanted to call me, I tell all my clients my hours of operation is from 9 to 5 o'clock, and then I'd probably have call forwarding to my cell phone.
Well, here's one of the things with that, and I know people that try to do that. When you're in a service industry, you want your people to have accessibility. At least I've always felt what's differentiated us in our industry right now from a lot of other guys is that we make ourselves available, and people respect you actually more. Oh, I'm sorry to bother you or things like. But I think that so I'll make a rule. I'll tell people when they first become my clients that, hey, if I don't get back to you right away, it's only for a few reasons. Either I'm with a client and I want to give them the same respect I'm giving you, or I'm in a meeting. And but I will always, if I can't get back to you by the end of the business day, because sometimes people call me late at night too. I'll say, I'll call you by 9 o'clock the next morning. You'll be on my to-do list. You will get a phone call back. In the rare case I don't pick up the phone. But it's very difficult to say to people, hey, I'm 9 to 5. Well, there's a lot of people that will work more.
Well, I'd still give them, I'd have the same phone number.
Right.
But it's just like, I'm trying to find ways to make it.
I get it. Well, you got to let them know you have hours. Like I tell people, when I leave my office on a Saturday afternoon, sometimes 11, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, whatever it is, I'll say, listen, just my phone, basically, unless it's an emergency, I don't get back to people till Monday morning. But they know that, and they'll text me, this is an emergency or something like that. And that's mostly for the guys that I train, all of which you know. I'll say, listen, guys, if unless you text me and say it's an emergency, because what constitutes an emergency on your part does not necessarily constitute an emergency on my part. Like, you ever notice, like, people, it's an emergency, and you're like,
is it?
That was an emergency?
I would if I did that, I would probably clarify, like, an emergency to my business is your account got deleted, copyright strike that is prohibiting you from.
But here's the thing, we were talking about using the advancement of technology, right? I tell people, if you call me and I don't answer, text me what's wrong, so I can then gauge. Oh my God, if I was with if let's say I'm with you right now and something came in that was absolutely detrimental to someone's success with what we do, I'd be like, Anthony, can you just give me, I apologize, can you give me 1 second? I really need to take and make this call back. I also have people leave me a voicemail. You know what voicemail and what text I can't stand? What? 2 words. Call me. What the frig is that? Call me. No. What do you want? Right? Leave me a voicemail on what it's about, or send me a text. I actually paid the extra $3 a month, so if you leave me a voicemail, it converts to a text and sends me a text. Visual mail, I think.
It's free with iPhone.
Well, Verizon, I pay for it.
You could just, if you had an iPhone, you do have an iPhone.
I do have an iPhone. I'm not allowed to use it.
Now, yeah. Well, when you get a voicemail left, it auto transcribes. I think you should just switch over.
But the only problem is sometimes your grandfather leaves me a voicemail and the text doesn't match the voicemail. I just licked your microphone. Hopefully, the last person didn't have any diseases.
You're probably going to be super powered if you lick that.
Okay. So, it can get a little nuts. So,
Well, I find it, with technology and the advancements, it's crazy that we have to do that. Where it's like, oh, do I need a second phone so I could detox?
Right.
There's actually phones on the market where it's like a smartphone, but without apps. So it's like, it's a little tiny one. I forget what it's called. I think it's called the Light phone.
Right.
And it has texting, email, an MP3 player.
Right.
Not Spotify, an MP3 player. And I think you get the news. And that's it.
Well, there's another way of doing it, too. I mean, like, I have the Do Not Disturb.
Yeah, but that's...
So the only people that can break Do Not Disturb or like I had said before, your grandparents, etc., mom. But here's it still comes through, but it doesn't alert you. So you can still look at it and go, oh, shit, 7 missed... like I was doing it as fun. I was doing it where it would automatically go on at 11 o'clock at night. Do Not Disturb, right? And it always seemed that it would go on, but then I would need to do something, and I couldn't do it because, like, your Bluetooth in the car doesn't work. Your GPS doesn't. I'd be coming home from a late night appointment, and I'd be like, "Why isn't my GPS?"
Oh,
on?
I remember
it's because
that.
Do Not Disturb was on. Like, son of a bitch.
We were upstate one time.
Yeah, and I probably wasn't talking to me.
And you were like, "What's going on? Why isn't this working?"
I'm
like,
"Past your favorite bridge the other day, by the way."
Daddy makes friends.
We don't need to talk about that.
We don't need to talk about that.
Not
Okay.
yet. But Mom was pretty funny. She goes, "Is this the Daddy Makes Friends bridge?" I'm like, "Yeah, it is." Sadly,
that's funny. Oh man, you guys have no idea the lore that you missed.
We can talk about that anytime.
Yeah,
that might make me look nuts.
Oh man, but but it's just it's crazy because it's like, and I work in social media and media in general, and I have a lot of my clients that say I don't want to learn it, I don't want to be a part of it,
right?
I don't want it for myself, and yeah, you do lose out on. Because when I get wanting to have a reluctance, but you need to have an understanding of it so you don't get taken advantage of.
Right.
Most of my clients don't even know how to access their accounts analytics. So if they hired another media company and they gave them a report every month. Right. I've know of companies that will fudge the numbers on the reports. They'll just screenshot it, edit it in Photoshop, and say, "Oh, this is your reach," and the client wouldn't know any better because they don't even know how to check their own analytics. I have clients that I teach them, hey, this is how you look and see what your analytics are. Yeah. So, one, I don't have to send a monthly report because it's a pain in the ass, but I do it if needed. And two, I know that what I'm doing works. Right. And if it's not working, I want you to see it so you could move on and find someone else.
You need to be aware of it. You need to embrace it. That doesn't mean you need to be consumed by it.
Right.
And that's why we pay you as a consumer, right? I mean, your clients pay you so that just like clients pay me to do what I do, because they don't have the time to do it effectively.
Exactly. And a lot of media companies... So here's the problem. There's media companies that are present thinking. They only think in the moment. Okay. And then there's media companies like me that think in the future. The people that think in the moment are like, okay, most of my clients are like my parents or grandparents' age. They have no idea what's going on. They're assuming ignorance. And they're going to take advantage... They're like, let's take advantage of them while we can. I think... in the realm of these people are going to be in business for 10 to 20 more years before they retire or pass. And my next market is going to be people that absolutely understand what's going on. Right. So let's be completely transparent, be aware of market trends, and stay on top of what's changing.
Right.
So I know that in 10 to 20 years, my clientele now is going to be aging out.
Correct.
By one of those two metrics.
Correct.
And the only people that will be hiring me are the people that cannot do it themselves because they are so busy or they do not want to. Everyone will know how to. It just comes down to, do you want... Like, everyone knew how to fix their cars in the 70s and the 60s and the 50s. Everyone knew how to change a tire, change their brakes, change their oil, change their motor. But no one wanted to.
Right, and there's no need today with all the services, right?
Well, now you can't because you need a supercomputer.
Out, right?
Yeah. but
listen, I know how to change a tire. I haven't changed a tire. I can't tell you how long.
Yeah, you get it serviced because you don't
I call
have the time.
AAA and tell them, hey, come change the tire. I don't have time for that crap.
Exactly. And that's what's going to be with social media management and marketing. Everyone's going to know at least the basics of it. Right. But it's also understanding the science behind it. No one knew the algorithm was going to change to where reels were going to be the standard no one knew that people assumed because of the declining rates of attention spans.
I can tell by the amount of cat reels I see a day.
Yeah. And they do really fucking well. They do so well. Right. And, with advertise, and that's just a random person doing it.
The challenge, I think, though, is your generation, as opposed to mine. Like ours, there's a definite knowledge gap that you fill. But there's a false sense of, I know how to do it on my iPhone. I don't need a professional. I even deal with that in my industry. People, I could do it on my own. I'll just do it on the internet, and that's why they
lose half the Robinhood portfolio.
But it's just so I could see your challenge is going to be.
I could do it myself, and it's already a challenge.
A clear, distinct. This is the value, though.
I was on the phone. Not on the phone. I reached out to a woman on Facebook yesterday. She was asking for someone to do social media management and marketing.
Right.
On Facebook, and it said it was an in-person position. And I said, I'll text you. I own Barone Media Solutions, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Texting her, da-da-da-da-da-da. I could do this. Oh, my partner does some of that. I'm like, now I wasn't awake enough to say this response, but what I should have said was, then why are you posting on Facebook looking for a social media marketing person with 5 years of experience?
Still something you could follow up with, but that's one of the dangers of not having, and that's not the first time where I wasn't awake. You know what? Don't even engage until you're ready to engage.
Yeah,
people don't need that immediate response. You could always got in touch with, and just like you can get in touch with her now, but you can get in touch with her later, because most mistakes are made when people are tired or not ready.
Yeah,
right. So, but
it's tough to balance it because when you're in our position of owning a business, you're on call 24/7, but you can't be.
Right.
You're always working, but you can't be.
Right.
You're always tired, but you can't be. So it's always finding that happy medium.
Right.
Where it's like,
I think most people are understanding and respectful, though. If you put that boundary in place, most people realize that, okay, listen, it's 10 o'clock on a Sunday night. Do I really expect him to, like we've talked about, there's a balance between, I tell people all the time, there's a balance between, do I respond right away or do I wait? I do that with follow-ups. I tell people I try to be professionally persistent. I don't want you to think I forgot about you, but I don't want to be so friggin' annoying that, you look at me and go, oh, God, he's calling again. And I tell people straight out, I said, there's a balance. I'm telling you straight out, if you're a prospect of mine, there's a balance. I'm going to want to keep in touch with you. I want to make sure that I'm there, but I don't want to be a pain in the ass. And I don't say that, but I say it's professional persistence. I want to let you know that I am very much interested in servicing you or hiring you or whatever it might be that I'm looking for. If I'm looking for recruiting and developing, or if I'm looking for a client, there's a balance. You see it in your own life, right? With people, oh my God, how many times is this person going to call me, right? Or how come this person doesn't call me, right? Don't they care about my business, right? And sometimes you have to, as well as I do, I was looking for a certain professional in a certain field, and there was a miscommunication. I said, you said you were going to get back to me in 7 days. It's been 20 days. And the person said, oh, my God, I thought I sent you XYZ email. I'll resend it. Sometimes there's, right? So if I didn't, but I looked at it and said, well, now I'm flipping it around as the client. Here's a situation where I said, well, why didn't that person reach out to me? Yeah, I don't want you to call me every day and say, okay, are you going to retain me? But by the same token, it's like, didn't he give a crap? Why didn't he at least 3 days after the email? I'll tell in Gmail, 3 days after you send an email, you get a thing that pops up and says, do you want to resend it or do you want to follow up? I guess that's AI. I don't know. But whatever it is, and people might get annoyed, but I'm like, oh, crap. Yeah, look at that. Or delete it. I already spoke to that guy, whatever it might be, right? Again, there's tools to help you become more efficient, more successful. There's tools that are going to get in the way.
It's just knowing them.
Right.
And, I guess before we close out, one of the things I really want to touch on is when it comes to especially like what I do and you do, because as technology has advanced, more people are able to access things that were reserved for the elite. If this was 1980, this would not be a company. This would not exist. This podcast would not be happening.
Right.
It wouldn't even be a radio show. It was so hard to do what I did in 1980. What I do right now, it'd be thousands of dollars, $50, $60, $70, $80,000 just to do a modicum of what I do.
Because you're producing like a TV show, kind of,
You
right?
would need, the size of that desk over there would be just to process the audio.
Right.
Forget the film. Do you know how expensive this would be to do?
Right.
Film-wise, developing it, and God forbid you fuck it up.
Yep.
You're done. So, it'd be impossible. And it's great because now people actually understand. They're able to do these things.
Right.
They're able to make their own videos and do their own investments and learn about these things online. But you still need a professional to fine tweak it because now there's algorithms in place. TikTok's algorithm is insane, and you can make a lot of money on TikTok and not on Instagram,
Right.
depending on how you do it. But you need professionals to help tweak for each algorithm.
You're not paying a plumber to turn the wrench. You're paying the plumber to know which nut to turn. You know what I'm saying? Which pipe to work on, and that comes through the experience. Same thing with you. You're not paying someone. You are in essence, but I watched you set this thing up, and it's like you're setting this lighting up, you're setting that thing up. You set up. It took you 15 minutes to set up. You can't get that from an iPhone. No. You can't get that from a selfie. It's a different. You're paying for the experience. You went to school for 4 years to be better. To get the knowledge. You have clients. You get the knowledge. So, you're paying for the time and the education that someone puts into their career more than the actual event.
And I'd like to say too, with college, it's not just going to college that's going to get you where you need to go. It's what you do during your education.
Absolutely.
Because if I didn't have this podcast, I wouldn't understand. There were kids that took audio production 1, their freshman or sophomore year. And then their senior year rolled around, and they took audio production 2.
Right.
Or advanced audio. I've been editing in college for 3 years at that point. By the time it was my senior year and I took advanced audio 2.
Right.
So there were kids that haven't taken the class, haven't even opened the program, Adobe Audition, in 4 years. 3 years, 4 years.
Right.
I've been working on it every day. So they didn't even know how to save a file. And this is supposed to be an advanced audio class. I was pissed. Because I was done with all of my shit. All my school projects, I got done in a week. And then it was all just BS projects that I wanted to do. And I was helping people learn how to...
Because they didn't want to master it for a career. They wanted to get credit for a job.
Well, but that's the problem. Is that people will complain and say, oh, well, where's my job? I went to college for 4 years. Yeah, but your education's nothing because you didn't do anything with it.
But guess what? It was like that back in the 80s.
Oh, of course. I'm not saying that's a generational difference.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that when it comes to, is a general rule,
right,
timeless throughout the generations. If you don't work on it, you're going to lose it.
Right. Absolutely. They used to tell us, go to school, kid. You'll get a good job. You'll make $100,000 a year. You're going to be working in Manhattan. You're going to have 3 secretaries, a private ride in, all that bullshit. But, you got to, like anything else, you got to put the time and energy in. So, and I can see how that could be frustrating. I look at people in our industry that have been doing it but they mail it in, and it frustrates the crap out of me. It's like, you're a damn professional.
Act like it.
And do your job.
There's guys where, I've seen some people get really cushy marketing jobs right out of college after they were just railing coke off a toilet seat for 4 years.
And they never grow.
Well, they'll never grow or they lose it.
Right.
Because, I've subcontracted with massive marketing companies. And I've worked at all these different radio stations. It's easy to lose those jobs.
Sure.
People think I've had people say, why don't you just get a real marketing job? I'm like, well, 1, fuck you. 2, saying this isn't real. And 2, do you know how easy it is to lose them? And then you got to deal with the snark.
Right.
My industry, if you talk to people that work in marketing, work in radio production, they have such a negative attitude. And it's like they'll make self-deprecating jokes, suicide jokes. They'll be nasty to you and the client. Why would I want to be in that environment? It's not worth the $60,000.
No. Remember this. You can always say to people when they criticize you, I've been criticized for being on my own for I don't know how many years now, right? I'm going to be 57 in October, since 21. But, remember this. I'm going to give it a shot. And if I fail, I can always get a job and be just like you. There you go.
Oh, I love that. I think that's a great way to wrap this up. So, thank you for coming on.
My man.
And do you have anywhere you want to send the folks, any social media you want to drop, or just?
I don't even know what that means.
Like Instagram handle.
Oh, what am I? I think I'm Barone 5.
Yeah, Barone 5.
Barone 5 at whatever Instagram. On Instagram. Hey, listen, I'm learning too. Here's the thing. I may not be great at it, but I did not brush it under the rug. Right? I tried it. Mom's really good at it. I used to copy off of her. Now I copy off of you. But I'm on Facebook and I'm on all this stuff, and it's a little overwhelming for someone that has an intense kind of career and has to learn a lot, stay on top of a lot of other things, which is why, people like you have value to that. But this has been fun. I have no idea if it was good or bad or indifferent.
It was great.
Okay. And, maybe we'll do it again in the future. I don't know. Cool. Maybe we'll do something really stupid. Maybe we'll do something serious. Who knows? Maybe we'll talk about our extracurricular activities, or maybe we'll talk about. We didn't get to talk about politics today.
No.
All right. Which we said we weren't going to do. I'm just kidding.
I know.
But it's been great. And just remember this: if you want to be successful, that's your choice. But condition your mind to be successful. And just remember this: knowing a couple of cute quotes doesn't mean you're going to be successful. Just being positive, although it's important that you be positive. That's important, but you got to remember to work on yourself to build that and build your career and build your know-how, and I think that's important.
That was awesome. So, thank you very much, and to our listeners, thank you to listening episode 294 of Backpacking America and celebrating 5 years and listening for 5 years to me talk about a lot of stuff. So thank you, and until next time.